I'm Kayla, 26, and if you had asked me a week ago if my family was crazy enough to steal my dog, I would have laughed in your face. But here I am, exhausted, furious, and trying to keep it together after the most insane day of my life. For some background, my Aunt Linda has always been a problem. She's my mom's older sister, and for as long as I can remember, she's been a master manipulator. The kind of person who never takes responsibility for anything, yet always plays the victim. Growing up, I learned to keep my distance, but that didn't stop her from trying to guilt-trip me into doing favors whenever it suited her. Meanwhile, there's Daisy, my golden retriever, my absolute heart. I got her 4 years ago, when I was at my lowest. I won't get into details, but she was the one constant that helped me through. She's not just a pet, she's family. I've never met a sweeter, more loyal dog. Aunt Linda? She has a very different history with animals. She's the kind of person who gets a pet on impulse because it's cute, and then loses interest as soon as it becomes an inconvenience. Over the years, I've seen her cycle through dogs, cats, even a rabbit once, each one either abandoned, rehomed, or mysteriously given to a better place whenever she got bored. That alone was enough for me to know I never wanted her near Daisy. Now, Aunt Linda's been living in a rental owned by my uncle, my mom and Linda's brother, for over a decade. She's always late on rent, but because it's family, he's never kicked her out. She gets away with things because she always pulls the poor me act, and honestly, most people just give in to shut her up. Things boiled over at a family barbecue last weekend. Everything was fine at first, just the usual small talk and overcooked burgers. Then Aunt Linda cornered me in the kitchen. She had this fake sweet smile and started asking if I was free to watch her grandkids for a few weekends. No mention of payment, just the usual expectation that because we're family, I'd do it for free. I told her I wasn't available. That should have been the end of it. Instead, she flipped. She went on this whole rant about how selfish I was, how I never help family, and how she always sacrifices for others while I do nothing. I was so caught off guard that I just stood there while she got louder and louder. That's when Daisy, who had been laying near my feet, stood up and barked. She wasn't aggressive, she just sensed I was upset. Aunt Linda recoiled like she'd been personally attacked. "Control your dog," she snapped. "That thing is a menace." I laughed at that because really? Daisy, the gentlest dog ever, was a menace? But I didn't argue. I just picked up Daisy's leash and walked away. A few hours later, as people were leaving, I was busy saying goodbye to some relatives when I noticed Aunt Linda was gone. Didn't think much of it. I was just relieved she had left. Then I got home, and Daisy was gone. At first, I thought I was losing it. I checked every room, the backyard, the gate. I called her name over and over, running up and down the street like an idiot. I asked neighbors, checked under cars, nothing. That's when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Maybe you need to learn some respect. Daisy will be happier with me anyway." I felt like my brain short-circuited. Linda. She took Daisy. I didn't even think. I jumped into my car and drove straight to her rental. I pounded on her door. No answer. I could hear movement inside, but no one came to the door. I yelled through the door, demanding she give Daisy back. Nothing. I called my mom, who immediately tried to reason with her. No surprise, Aunt Linda didn't pick up. At this point, I was shaking with rage. I did the only thing I could think of. I called the police. They showed up pretty fast, but the moment I explained that it was my aunt who took her, their tone changed. They said since it was a family dispute, it was a civil matter, not a criminal one. They suggested I talk it out or take it to small claims court. I was floored. My dog had been stolen, and they were acting like it was a disagreement over borrowed furniture. The moment I got home, I started making calls. First, to my uncle, the one who owns the house Aunt Linda has been living in for over